Welcome to Craig Back Zone.
Of the hot and spicy and terrible things that'll possibly ruin your evening or the next several.
That's me. That's me. But honestly, I feel like I've built up like an immunity to it. I don't know. Do you feel the same or not really? Do you have it in small doses?
It got during the lockdown, like when the world first spontaneously combusted, it got pretty intense because I was bored and we were stuck in the house together and decided to just play awful mind tricks with our food with each other. And so the hot sauce cabinet has increased tenfold, and there was a point where I was eating like entire chili peppers just because. And why? Like why I did any of that? I have no idea.
That's amazing. That's what, like I said, because I like, or even like when I cook for like my parents or my sister, they're like, "This is too much." I'm like, "Sorry." Makes it a little more fun, you know.
Definitely the spice lord in my family for a long time, and my mother and my sister did not. Well, even my dad, none of them really got that. It's really more my grandmother, like them, like they're all
right.
They can't taste anything anymore. That might be what it is, but yeah, they like to put some spice into some stuff. So I definitely got it from him.
I feel you.
Overseas, and his father always played, and he just all through his life always played in bar bands, and toured with different guys. He hitchhiked for 5 years, and I have his guitar sitting over there, his old Martin sitting over there in the corner still. And that's all he did. He hitchhiked with his buddy Charlie and played music, ended up in Virginia, met my grandmother. And then when I came along, he was always playing, just playing locally in Virginia and Maryland, and doing some stuff with his buddy Ken Smith. And I started, my grandmother and my dad started bringing me to watch him play. And, from the time I could walk, I'd like stumble myself on the stage, and like start helping him pack up. It turned into like me, wrapping cables up at the end of the set and putting guitars in cases. Like I'm 4 years old. I started playing roadie, and there's pictures of it too, me putting like these really expensive guitars in cases and like latching them and like, oh, don't touch it. But then he bought me my first like little nylon string guitar, and he always tells the story about how I wouldn't take it unless I had something to plug a cable into. And apparently I threw a temper tantrum because I knew I couldn't plug it in. And he was like, dude, really? So he convinced my dad to, help him drill this thing out. And as I got older, maybe like 6, 7, like I never really understood it. I loved going and playing and, seeing him play, and I would like watch his guys do it, but I didn't really grasp the concept, right? Like I just didn't. To me, it's just a weird looking thing with 6 strings that you beat on it. It makes some sort of sound. Doesn't sound like they're doing. And then I remember I remember vividly because my dad was drinking eggnog at Christmas, and he was watching. I think my mom had gotten him like something, or maybe he got these DVDs. So I don't know where they came from, but he had a like MTV used to sell those music video anthologies. You remember those? Like when they used to be come on DVDs? Yeah. And so he brought 2 of those home, and he turned off Christmas Vacation and put on Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard, and like I remember he had one from like Quiet Riot and Skid Row, and like we just watched all of these old tapes. And when I first saw, Slash, obviously, every single guitar player in the world loves Slash, right? Highly overlooked guy. The first time I was like maybe 8 years old. I saw Steve Clark playing with Def Leppard, and they were playing in the round. They had that circular stage in the middle of the arena, and I saw just this really skinny guy with a Les Paul hanging around his knees and this long blonde hair and just the way that he played and the soul that he had and the feel that he had, that was what sealed it for me. And the songs too. I mean, Bringing On the Heartbreak, to Pour Some Sugar on Me, to, you know, Armageddon It, like all the old school Def Leppard stuff, Rock of Ages. That was the night I was like, Dad, show me how to do this, right? And so,
How old do you think you were?
Probably 8.
Right at 8.
Like 8, yeah. And I mean, once that started, I mean, I was hell bent on. It wasn't easy, but I was hell bent on figuring that thing out. Sure. You know, it was like one of those wife beater shirts underneath of it, and he had like a unbuttoned flannel and like construction boots. And I remember I could see exactly what he looked like. And then like somebody else had brought over a photo, and I saw what I saw in a photo from like 40 years ago, and it was somebody that I was related to.
So was that like, once you like verified the picture, was that like a cool feeling? Was that like, is that a, like, obviously that person was visiting you is how I view it.
Oh shit. You know, oh shit. Like, and like, that's kind of like it still kind of is like a very like weird thing to talk about. Like, I've never really talked about it to like my family, because they're kind of, you know, we just don't, but talk to April about it all the time, you know, and, you know, we definitely, a lot of stuff that I want to explore on that side of the universe.
Very.
You know? Yeah. What about you? So you asked, so are you into that though?
I am, but just not because I like see stuff all the time, but I've just always been into like, so I'm obsessed with old school unsolved mysteries, like Robert Stack's, like probably like before you were born. You
two need to have a conversation. Because Unsolved Mysteries, like, we will religiously watch that. You two gotta talk about
okay. Yeah, no, I would love, Sinner, you know, connect me. I would love, because I just, since a kid, because it showed me that like like these people, these like normal people had these unexplainable experiences. So that's what like opened the door. But I think it's almost like, and I don't know if it's just because like our older parents' generation, but I feel like, you know, even though I found out you're the younger generation below me, but both of our generations, like, I feel like we are more open to talking about it, to like talking about those experiences. So it's not like shamed. I feel, you know what I mean? And so I think I'm more, not only with all that said, I just think that I have just had some unbelievable dreams, and I have woken up knowing things that I shouldn't. So that's where I connect with it. I haven't really seen anything, but my dreams are just, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's just a dream. And I'm like, well, it's pretty weird that like, I know this about so-and-so. But right.
Yeah, that's happened. I've had that same thing with like things that have happened in the past. You know, like you see like you'll see stuff, and then you'll wake up, and it could be even random too. Like like when I first met April, I ended up finding out something that she had never told me, you know, about somebody else, and she was like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, you know, I don't know. And she was like, "Okay, that's weird." But yeah, I mean, I also, again, like, you know, TV and, you know, social guys like Zach Bagans, you know, because I guess he's just the most popular, but even just like, you know, paranormal guys and people that, like, we went and saw like, there was one night we went and saw like one of them psychic mediums that, like one of her friends had like said, hey, she's coming to town. She's doing like one of those events, but she's one of those girls that does like a small group kind of people, psychic readings. But she's been, I mean, she was a criminal, like she was in the criminal justice system, and like she was in the, I think not the FBI, but she was a what do you call them? Like one of them like she did like forensics.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the police departments would use her to like help solve cold cases and like stuff like that. Like way like
Yeah.
very deep into it. And that lady was definitely a couple like how did she know that kind of moments where like I think I definitely pray that I get to see her again because like there's definitely something to that.
Right. Or even too,
Yeah.
like, I mean, even though it's like a fun fact, it's like, why was I thinking about Keith Urban before I logged on here? I don't
Dude, I literally, my buddy, like, and I think there's an intuition too. Like, I told April, I was like, my buddy Jason, I haven't called him in a while. A couple days ago, I was sitting in the studio working on something. I was like, I haven't called Jason in a while. I swear to God, if it wasn't the next morning, he called me.
You just
I haven't
felt
talked to the guy. Haven't talked to him in like 7 months. And just out of the blue, he called me. I was like, I was just thinking about you. You know.
kinetic
So.
energy for sure.
Thank you, Katie Black.
Definitely.
You're amazing. Thank you,
I
love.
love your energy.
Yes,
I
great
do.
energy.